Teachers head back to their classrooms. Many are faced with limited resources, safety concerns, and low salaries, which can take a toll on their mental health. According to a Gallup poll, 44% of K through 12 teachers in the U.S. reported feeling burned out often or always. Joining us live to explain how to manage job-related stress is Leslee Marcom, a mental health expert from Pathlight Mood Anxiety Center. Good morning. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Leslee.
Thank you.
I think it's a really appropriate time to be having this conversation, as many of us are getting into a new routine with the school year starting this week, last week, maybe for some, or even next week for others. So talk to us. Let's define burnout before we get into all this.
Yeah, burnout is really a state of emotional and physical exhaustion that can happen in any career, definitely for our teachers out there. It's really brought upon by long periods of constant and unrelenting stress that people experience. It's something that can be identified really by recognizing, okay, am I feeling more or less engaged at work? Am I feeling more emotionally sensitive, more physically exhausted? Am I feeling like I'm not having an impact on the students that I'm working with? These are kind of signs and symptoms that burnout can be present.
And of course, if this happens, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is quite normal for a lot of folks in a lot of different industries. The good news is there are ways to cope. There are tips and suggestions you have to help reduce that stress, that anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest thing is that I think when you're in a time of stress, it is harder to recognize things. It's harder to utilize or figure out what works for you. What my piece of advice is for the teachers out there is really to identify ahead of time what are the things that I can do when I'm feeling stressed? What are the signs and symptoms for me personally? And how can I be preventative in these things? If they are experiencing signs of burnout and signs of stress, then I would recommend having a support system, having people at work and outside of work that they can go to when they're feeling that stress, having the courage to ask for help and to be able to ask for what they need, setting really strong boundaries and being able to know when they can say yes to things and when they can say no to things. And then also, self-care gets a really bad rap, but I am a big believer in self-care. I think making sure that when you're not at work, taking the time to yourself and doing things that reinvigorate you and get your energy back up.
Yeah, I think, Leslee, the hang up here is that in our culture, in our society, it's tough for us to talk about our feelings, our emotions. And I know we're getting much better at that, right? We're harvesting these environments that are welcoming, or at least we say they're more welcoming. But the hang up is really coming forward to say, hey, you know what? I am struggling. I'm having a difficult time with X, Y, and Z. How do you suggest, if it's a teacher, for example, we're talking about back to school, if it's a teacher that's really, struggling with what's going on, how do you suggest they come forward, and to whom, with what it is they're concerned about?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is difficult to be able to say, hey, I'm not doing well, or I'm struggling. And I think having that support system is really what's important. And it's not only having people that you can go to, but having people that you can trust. And so finding your colleagues at work, finding your superiors at work that you can go to, and that you can say, hey, I need help. And when you say that, they will listen and they will provide that support.
At what point should someone reach out for that help?
It's never too soon or too late to get help. You don't have to wait until you're completely burned out to be getting the help. I am biased. Obviously, I'm a psychologist. I believe in therapy. And I just think that, it's important to do the preventative measures, but also definitely when you're feeling those things that I talked about at the beginning, when you're feeling like you aren't making an impact on your students, that you don't feel good about the work that you're doing, that you come home and you're just completely exhausted and, worried about going to work the next day. I think those are definitely signs that it's time to look for some help.
Okay, all good information. As always, Leslee Marcom, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.